It seems like the 100-year-old rivalry between USC and Notre Dame is dead, and it seems like USC is the side that wants to end this traditional rivalry. Is Lincoln Riley dodging this game? Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button down below while you're watching. That way you'll never miss an episode. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So the end of the USC-Notre Dame rivalry, it looks like it's here. We got 2 games left this year and next year. Got Big Ten recruiting news. Of course, the baseball tournament's going on and 3 softball teams in the Super Regionals from the Big Ten. We'll have our Big Ten Classics and live action coming up as well this weekend on the Big Ten Network. So, Locked On Big Ten speculated about this months ago, actually. The idea that the 100-year-long football rivalry between USC and Notre Dame may be coming to an end is gaining a lot of momentum all of a sudden. And it seems like USC is the one dodging Notre Dame on this issue as things stand right now. The series finale appears to be next year, 2026. That's the end of the most recent contract. Both sides will meet in at the Coliseum next year on November 28th, and then that'll be it. They do play this year in South Bend under the lights on October 18th in the middle of the season. So after that, the contract is over. Notre Dame wants to continue the series. USC says, we'd like to make, we'll see certain circumstances. That's kind of the answer they're given right now. Notre Dame athletic director Pete Bavacqua says that USC and Notre Dame should play every year as long as there is college football. And, Notre Dame is independent with no conference affiliation. They need this game for scheduling purposes. That's for one thing. And most years, USC is a quality opponent that will help the Fighting Irish get to the postseason if they win a game. You may be surprised to know that during last year's run for Notre Dame to the championship game, that when you looked at their schedule, it only included one team that finished the season in the final college football playoff rankings, and that was Army, by the way. They need this game. They need a strength of schedule. They need a USC on their schedule. They can't see this go away. Notre Dame needs this game more than USC does. So what's going on at USC? Is Lincoln Riley dodging this game for his own benefit? Is he dodging a century-long tradition as a relative newcomer to this series? I'll get back to that in just a minute here. But USC seems to be the one that's not really interested in this series continuing. Relatively new athletic director Jennifer Cohen, she speculated about this months ago. We jumped all over it here on Locked On Big Ten. She said then it was possible that this series may not continue. Things are changing. College football is changing. And that's where we started talking about it here. She used the new Big Ten as a launching point for her reasoning. This is now coast to coast, a conference with a lot more traveling, and they would like to minimize that by possibly eliminating trips to South Bend. Here's my real interpretation of all that, because I tell you, we give you news, we give you analysis and opinion here. My real interpretation is USC's schedule in the Big Ten is much tougher than what it used to be in the Pac-12. And with 9 tough conference games and 3 non-conference games, USC doesn't feel like it can afford to make one of those 3 non-conference games a perennial power like Notre Dame. Looking ahead at their schedule here this year, pretty tough schedule. At Illinois, a 10-win team last year. Hosting Michigan, team back on the rise. At Notre Dame, runner-up to the national championship last year. At Oregon, Big Ten champion. All these are possible losses that I'm ripping off right here. I mean, that's 4 right there. And I haven't even mentioned the craziness that can happen in the season finale against UCLA. Could be 5 losses. And if they lose 4 of these games, that most likely takes them out of playoff contention. Remove the Notre Dame game, maybe suffer only 3 losses, and USC's right in the middle of the playoff mix with a record like that. So I'll go back to my earlier question. Is Lincoln Riley dodging this Notre Dame game? This will make Trojan fans mad at me. Believe me, I'm ready for it, but they're always mad at me anyway. It's my opinion that when Lincoln Riley was rolling at Oklahoma, remember what a surprise it was when all of a sudden the announcement came out of nowhere? He was leaving Oklahoma and going to USC. Well, I think that he caught wind that the Sooners were about to leave the nice, comfortable confines of the Big 12 for the brutal SEC, and I think he parachuted out of there. He thought he was parachuting to a much easier Pac-12. Then when he landed at USC and got all cozy and ready to go, hey, they called him up, Lincoln. Yeah, we're moving to the Big Ten. He probably was like, "Whoa, what?" That wasn't part of the plan. So, not in a position to be able to leave the Big Ten at USC, but he can cut Notre Dame out of his schedule. That's what I think's going on here. I think he has dodged these difficult paths, and he's looking for an easier path, or at least the path of least resistance, to try and get to a playoff. That's what I think. Go ahead, let me know, and give me a comment on that. What you think about that? I think there's a pretty good argument to be made. Now, USC has not completely shut the door on this game against Notre Dame. They've suggested moving it to the season opener. I don't know that Notre Dame really wants that, but historically, losses to ranked teams early in the season don't damage postseason hopes as much as a loss late or at the end of the season. But eliminating the game altogether, I think, would hurt college football. Last year's game at USC was one of the best thrillers of the entire college football season. Notre Dame, with national championship aspirations, they were on the ropes. They almost lost that game to USC. They did win it 49-35 in a shootout, and it was on the strength of not 1, but 2 full field length pick sixes, one for 100 yards and one for 99 yards, both in the fourth quarter. Other than that, might have been upset city. Since both of these schools began playing in 1926, they've combined for 24 national championships and 15 Heisman trophies. Rivalries seem to come and go these days, but I personally know people who have suited up for USC. And they will tell you hands down, this is the most important game on the calendar. No other matchup comes close. And they tell me years after playing, years after their playing days are over, the memories will start to fade here and there. But the memories of that USC-Notre Dame game, as vivid as if they happened yesterday. They don't want to see this game go by the wayside. But I think Lincoln Riley does. I think Jennifer Cohen does. I don't think Notre Dame does. I think this is all USC. Hit me up in the comments. Would love to hear from you on all that. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below so that you never miss an episode, and share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. And don't forget to check out our website, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts go there, but you can find links at the bottom for merchandise for your favorite school. 2025 School Spirit. Get some USC Trojan shirts, hats, t-shirts, pennants, all that right there. Talkbig10.com. All right, we still have a lot to do here. This is a very, very busy episode. USC may not want to play Notre Dame, but Wisconsin sure does. And we have the latest recruiting news, who's going where, who's leaning where, who's stealing who from who. The Big Ten baseball tournament is underway. And also we still have 3 softball teams alive at the Super Regionals. That gets going here on Friday. And then we'll have our Big Ten Classics and live action that we do every Thursday on the Big Ten Network. There's some good stuff on there for your Memorial Day weekend. So we got all that coming up in just 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. FanDuel, get in on FanDuel. Man, the NBA playoffs, FanDuel, The playoffs are in full swing. Every night is exciting. Huge leads blown, big comebacks, game-winning shots. Get in on the action with FanDuel. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game, whether it be before tip-off, you got everything nice and planned and orderly, or jump in live action right during the game. You got player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, all this stuff so that you can win big. It is so fun. There are many ways to do it. I keep telling you, Tyrese Halliburton is the guy I always keep an eye on for points and assists. I always take the over on that. And can take the over in the first couple of games of the Pacers-Knicks series. And then maybe as the series goes on, maybe lower scoring. Hey, how does a $200 bonus sound in bonus bets? That adds to the excitement if your first $5 bet hits. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Thank you very much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. We're making a push to 20,000 subscribers before the start of football season. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. That's how we grow. And check out our website, talkbig10.com. That's with the number 10 for our podcast and your school merchandise. Let's jump in it here. So we spent a lot of time talking about USC and Notre Dame. Wisconsin and Notre Dame. Yeah, they're going to play their football game that was postponed due to the COVID pandemic in 2020. You remember that? We canceled like non-conference games and stuck to just conference, and we altered our schedules. Anyway, that game was a casualty due to the pandemic. So they're going to replay it or play it, reschedule it. September 6th, 2026, next season. It's a Sunday, by the way. That's the opening Sunday, Labor Day weekend. You know, we always have a couple of games on that Sunday because it's the space that the NFL breaks from preseason before they start the regular season, and that opens up that Sunday for a few games. And then we always have a Monday night game for college football. So that's going to be one of those Sunday games, Notre Dame and Wisconsin. And by the way, I haven't told you this. It's going to be at Lambeau Field. That'll be the first college game at Lambeau in more than a decade. Now, the Badgers and the Irish did play the second game of that original 2-game contract. They canceled 2020, but they did play the second game in 2021 at Soldier Field. Notre Dame won that game handily, 41-13. The Irish, by the way, open this season on a Sunday as well. Got a date against Miami. So we're inside like 3 months. We're ready to go. But the game against Wisconsin will be the Irish's debut at Lambeau. They've never played there before. It'll be a nationally televised game. It'll be on NBC. Notre Dame will be the home game for that game. Wisconsin, by the way, last played at Lambeau when they beat LSU in 2016. I know you Badger fans remember that. As far as recruiting goes, the Badgers just missed out on one of their big targets, a 3-star defensive lineman, King Liggins. He was from Chicago, and he's going to play for former Badgers coach and now Illinois coach Brett Bielema. So he's staying in Illinois. And it was a good get by Bielema and Illinois to keep him in state. He took official visits at Iowa and Illinois, Wisconsin, also Indiana and Purdue, Michigan State, Minnesota, Northwestern were all recruited. The entire Big Ten was interested in this kid. And he's going to go to Illinois and play for Brett Bielema. But Wisconsin was really hopeful that they were going to get that guy. So let's talk about the Oregon Ducks for a minute. Right now, 2026, a top 20 recruiting class. I think I saw the latest one was 17th, but they're trending upward. Don't forget, Dan Lanning in Oregon, they've been a top 10 class. This will be their 4th consecutive year if they get a couple more hot recruits. California safety Devon Benjamin, he's the number 5 rated safety in the country. He's leaning Ducks. That's what we hear. So that'll boost up their overall ratings if they can land him. He is said to be one of the most versatile defensive backs in the country because he can play corner, he can play safety, he can play nickel, he can play receiver and return kicks as well. Very good athlete. This will be a very good get if Oregon can land. And apparently, he is trending toward Oregon at the point. And he's one of these players. We always update you on recruiting, and it seems like there's always every day we're talking about a player that is deciding between USC and Oregon, or Oregon's flipping him from USC, or USC flips the kid from Oregon. They're going after a lot of the same players, and it's fun to watch. Maybe it's a little nerve-wracking if you're an Oregon fan or a USC fan, but a lot of battles going on in there. A lot of recruiting going on right now. Earlier in the week, we discussed how PJ Fleck and the Minnesota Gophers were looking for a big recruiting summer splash. Their summer splash weekend. Here's an update. They're trying to flip edge rusher PJ Taki. Interesting name. He's from Utah. And he's been committed to BYU since December. But the Gophers offered him on Saturday, and on Tuesday, he locked in for an official visit to Minnesota for June. So he's interested. 6'4", 230 pounds, regarded as one of the best edge rushers in Utah. So that'd be a good get for the Gophers. Gophers are looking to close a lot of deals this weekend and next weekend and have a really nice recruiting class. Michigan State is still in the running for three-star offensive lineman Khalif Canty Jr. He is an in-state prospect. He's from the Detroit area. He's also considering Pitt and Missouri. And he got his list down to 3. It offers from 20 schools. It's got down to 3. Michigan State, Pitt, Missouri. Alabama offered him. Illinois, Indiana, Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin, and then others, non-Big Ten schools, Tennessee and Texas A&M. All great schools, all big schools going after him, but he's got it down to these 3. Michigan State has a shot at getting him. He said his recruitment is still wide open. All right, so we'll keep you up to date there. Meanwhile, the Big Ten baseball tournament well underway. Got a couple of pods, couple of pools in already, a couple of days worth. So here we are on Thursday. That's Pool C, where 7 seed Michigan takes on UCLA. 4 seed USC taking on 9 seed Penn State, and number 1 seed Oregon taking on 12 seed Michigan State. That is today. As far as tomorrow goes, we've got Pool D, and then we really start paring it down for the semifinals and the championship over the weekend. We'll give you the broadcast details in our next segment with Big Ten Classics and live action. But Friday, we got 5 seed Washington taking on USC. 6 seed Indiana faces Iowa, and 8 seed Nebraska will take on Oregon. So that's the schedule for the Big Ten baseball tournament as we head into the weekend and turn up the heat on that. Meanwhile, after a little pause in the action between the regionals and the super regionals from the softball NCAA tournament, where we got a record 8 Big Ten teams into the regionals, down to 3 now in the super regionals. They get back into action tomorrow, Friday. Nebraska will take on 7th-ranked Tennessee. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern tomorrow, 4 o'clock Pacific. They're in the Knoxville Super Regional. UCLA taking on 8th-ranked South Carolina. That's at 1 o'clock. It's an early game Friday. 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific. That is in the Columbia Super Regional. And then Oregon faces Liberty at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific in the Eugene Super Regional. So that's the softball slate as we cheer on all those teams as well. All right. If you're new to our podcast, we always have a feature we like to have fun with at the end. Mondays, we do our top 10 Big Ten observations. Tuesdays are Tuesday tweets. By the way, send us a tweet on X, Twitter, at Talk Big Ten. Wednesdays, we power rank stuff. And then Thursdays, we look at the Big Ten Network, Big Ten Classics, and live action. And then we look at odds or betting lines and all that on Friday. So Big Ten Classics, we'll kind of tell you how the baseball tournament is working out. And it's a long weekend. So Memorial Day weekend. Got a lot of classics and good football on Monday if you're just sitting around chilling out as well. So we're going to expand it. Usually we do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to look at Monday also. All that's coming up in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Time now for our Big Ten Classics and live action on the Big Ten Network in this long holiday weekend. tell you what's on in case you need a break from everything else that's going on. So we'll put it on full screen if you're audio only, and we will describe it to you in detail with what's going on here. We're going to start you off with Friday, May 23rd, and let you know what's going on with the Big Ten baseball tournament. And you can see right here, we'll start off at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. We got we gave you some of the schedule just a few minutes ago. Well, these are when the games are going to air. So we got Washington and USC Friday morning. Then at 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific, Indiana taking on Iowa. Again, this is Big Ten baseball, the Big Ten baseball tournament. And then at 7 o'clock Friday night, we've got Nebraska taking on Oregon. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific for you Oregon fans out there. So that's how we look on Friday. Moving ahead to Saturday. It gets pretty simple here. I mean, we don't put everything that the Big Ten Network is airing. We just some things that we think you would be interested in. And this is the baseball tournament. We got the semifinals on Saturday. After we've done all these pools, A, B, C, and D, we pare it down. We get down to the semifinals. The semifinal first game is at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 Pacific. And then the second semifinal, again, teams to be determined, will be at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And then on Sunday, this is May 25th, we got our Big Ten baseball championship. Again, teams to be determined, but that'll be at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 Pacific. And then we flip the corner to Monday. All right, let's take a look at this. We got a lot of, I just told you I don't put everything on there. It came pretty close here on Monday. I thought a lot of interesting stuff here. We'll pick it up at 1 o'clock Eastern. Got Big Ten football in 60 where they do that. The edits, the highlights just from snap to snap to snap. We got a UCLA at Nebraska from this past November. Ethan Garber's passing for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Bruins 27-20 win over the Huskers. That was the point of the season where UCLA started kind of turning things around a little bit. At 2 o'clock, another Big Ten football in 60, USC at Washington from that same day in November. Jonah Coleman, strong running back, rushed for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Huskies 26-21 win over the Trojans. And then at 3 o'clock, we've got Big Ten baseball. They're going to replay the Big Ten baseball championship from the Big Ten tournament at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. And then we jump to 6:30. We got a Nebraska football classic. There's your Big Ten classic. The Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, Nebraska versus Boston College in December. And, of course, Nebraska won that game. So congratulations there. If you missed it, go check it out again. 7:30 in Iowa football classic. It is Nebraska at Iowa. This goes back a little bit. This is not this year. This is November of 2018. Miguel Racinos kicking a game-winning 41-yard field goal as time expired, sending the Hawkeyes to a 31-28 victory over the Cornhuskers. 2018. That's why it's a Big Ten classic. At 8:30, we got a Minnesota football classic, the Duke's Mayo Bowl from this January, taking on Virginia Tech. So we got that at 8:30 Eastern. Then at 9:30, a Michigan State football classic from 2001, Michigan at Michigan State. Michigan fan, you probably want to sit this one out. Michigan State, you're all over it. This is the one where, with 1 second left, Jeff Smoker threw a touchdown pass to TJ Duckett to give the Spartans a 26-24 victory over the 4th-ranked Wolverines. There you go. Sitting there, winding down your Memorial Day weekend, your Memorial Day Monday, 9:30 Eastern. Check that one out. Classic Michigan State and Michigan. And then late at night on the East Coast at 10:30, 7:30 on the West Coast, a UCLA football classic from 2022 when the Bruins beat Washington. So you can check that out as well. So a long list, an expanded list for the holiday weekend. You can check all that out. Big Ten classics and live action between the baseball, the Big Ten baseball tournament, and reminisce a little bit of football. We're like 100 days away from the start of football season. Get you in the mood for all of that. Well, let me know what you think. Hit me up with the comment section. Always like hearing from you. And many ways for you to interact with this show. There's Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. You can see that on the crawl at the bottom if you're on video. And also our website, talkbig10.com. It's the number 10, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts go. And you can buy yourself your school merchandise from your favorite school. Whatever you do, before you leave, going to ask you a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button. It is free. And we're making our push to 20,000 subscribers before the start of football season. And that way you'll never miss a single episode. We also ask you to share, follow, and like, because that helps us grow. We also appreciate word of mouth. If you're a Big Ten fan, I know you know at least one other Big Ten fan or family member or an alum that doesn't know we're out here each and every day. And what makes this podcast unique, both video and audio, Big Ten, all 18 teams, news, analysis, and opinion. We're not afraid to give you the opinion after the analysis and the stories. So that's what makes us unique from all the other podcasts that are out there. So check us out and tell your friends about us. And feel free to go back for a second listen. Maybe you missed yesterday's. They're all fantastic, right? Check it out on Locked On Big Ten. Also, I'll invite you for a second listen to check out our friend Brian Smith. He knows everything about the portal. That's all he does. Recruiting and portal. He's got a show called The Portal Show. And you can be the most informed fan just by listening to him. Again, Brian Smith and The Portal Show on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. That'll do it for us. Tomorrow, I want to explore what's going on in the state of Tennessee because the legislature there in Tennessee is making different rules than the rest of college football is putting together. And Tennessee may do its own thing, and Vanderbilt and Memphis. The SEC, there's people that want them to kick Tennessee out. Would they come to the Big Ten? We'll talk about that. Or would they play by the rule? If they're not playing by the rules, maybe nobody wants them. It's a very interesting story developing there. We'll talk about that and how that relates to the Big Ten. That's all coming up in tomorrow's podcast. So feel free. And you know what? I think we'll also do a thing on Bryce Underwood. I saw that ESPN said he is the player to watch this year in college football. So we'll talk a little Michigan football in the podcast tomorrow. That'll do it for us here today. Can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks for spending some time with us today, though. I'm Craig Sheeman for Locked On Big Ten.